When people talk about keys to a successful relationship, they always say communication and trust. You got to understand who you dealing with.
Yeah.
And be okay with that in all of it.
Absolutely.
Because it ain't always the same all the time, and it ain't always pretty.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here wondering how we going into 40, both of us, and you got a great track record of being in a relationship, and I don't have a good track record. You know what I'm saying? My track record is terrible in a relationship. I've never been able to make it happen for whatever reason. And it's just blowing me because I was like, I know this dude got a tube like a mug. How do you do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are some of the secrets to your success and being successful in a relationship? But that you have a tendency to say F it.
Well, first of all, let me just say this before I get into anything else. I don't want to be like a poster child for a perfect relationship because I ain't that. Yeah, me and my wife, we have been together, a couple months from now, it'll be 15 years. But to answer your question about how I manage, how you've known me to be back then to how I just made it, I think it's really my values. And what I mean by that is like, I value peace of mind a lot. And I understand that when you commit to a relationship, you commit to anything, you have to do your part to see that it works. Yeah. They always say choose your battles, right? That could be little things that gets under my skin to upset me, but I had to think about it. Is this really worth a week's worth of tension in the house because of this one moment? 9 times out of 10 it is. And, I just had to find a way to just kind of, deal with it, process it, and bring it up when we're in a better space. It's hard to get to an understanding when people are so headstrong in their stance. It's almost one of the most impossible things in this life to do is to try to convince somebody to think differently when they 10 toes down in their beliefs.
From my experience, what I experienced, and I've been this, I didn't really listen to gain understanding. I listened to respond.
Right.
And then when you do that and somebody does that, it's like this perpetual cycle. You're not really hearing the individual. You're just going back and forth. Now you're just fighting. Now it's a debate.
You're a hamster
just
wheel.
cause.
And it's not just in like relationships with a significant other, but that's oftentimes like people listen to respond as opposed to listen to comprehend and understand.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, especially in a relationship, because when a person is telling you things that matter to them and you just hearing them to get to your point, you missing the whole point. If they telling you like, this bothers me, but you just waiting for your opening to tell them what bothers you.
Absolutely.
Y'all ain't get any place.
Yeah.
At this point, like y'all just sitting here bitching back and forth, and y'all ain't getting no further down the road. The issue has not been resolved.
Yeah.
You can fool yourself like, oh, we're good now, but that prior issue hasn't been resolved.
So that's crazy you say that because it sounds like, to kind of recap or bring all that together, it seems like because you value peace, right. Your home is your sanctuary.
100%.
You do a lot of forward thinking on when to bring up the issue because you don't want tension in your house.
Right.
So once the situation dies down, then you can bring the issue up when there's no beef, there's no tension, and y'all can listen intently to each other.
Right.
To gain understanding.
Right.
To both of you to arrive at a solution.
Because everything doesn't have to be a conflict. Especially if you're paying attention, if you trying to pay attention, if you listening, and it ain't always got to be what they say, just observe.
Have you ever been in a good state, you brought something up in a joking manner and it killed the vibe? I've done that before.
I do remember a time specifically where, I'm reading this book and I'm gaining this new information. I feel like, oh yeah.
And I know Jessica.
I figured it out. I got the solution for us
and you
out of this book.
Yes.
And I came home and I presented this information like, this is what we need to change.
Yeah.
And it didn't go over so well. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty
it didn't go over so well. So it's just like, you got to give things time to breathe. And just because you own something, you got some new information, or you own something, that don't mean that they gonna just be on the same page that you on when you own that.
Yes.
You know, so I had to learn that part, but you definitely have to understand that there's a time and place for everything in a relationship. So, you know, but sometimes you got to read the room, and then you got to weigh the pros and the cons. Like, is it worth it in this moment? Like, think about your situation an hour from now. Okay.
Boy, you do a lot of thinking. That's number one.
You got
some techniques too.
Think about this situation an hour from now. All right, so this is home. I have no place else to go. Like I said, my home is my sanctuary.
Yeah.
And I just don't like that. I don't like negative energy up in the house. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
Because I ain't got nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in a place that's negative and heavy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to think about it. Like, is what I'm about to say or what I'm wanting to present, is it worth an argument? Is it worth that in this moment? But sometimes it is. I'm not sitting here trying to say that you should let everything slide. Sometimes if it's an issue big enough to bring to the forefront, you need to bring it to the forefront, and you just need to be, mindful of how you relay that message. You got to know your partner. You got to understand that some things might not land so well, but that comes with time. I know what I value in my relationship and in my life and in my home, and it's peace of mind. So that's the goal.
Yeah.
And, I do want to make her happy. And, I want her to be happy, safe, protected, all those things. But for myself, I want my peace. I think one of the keys to our relationship is that we've always allowed each other to be ourselves. I can just be me.
Yeah.
The good and the bad.
Yeah.
She never judged me because you say you done seen me snap.
My dog
she
got
has
it
too.
Yeah.
And she ain't judged me for it. It ain't like the next, after I snapped and I've calmed down, the next day she's like, I don't know about this. You know, she understood that it's like, okay, that's just a part of who he is.
Yeah.
When people talk about keys to a successful relationship, they always say communication and trust. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's something that people don't really touch on. Like, you got to understand who you dealing with.
Yeah.
And be okay with that in all of it.
Absolutely.
Because it ain't always the same all the time, and it's not always pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all have
and
our
then you evolve
issues.
and you grow over time too. Y'all been together 15 years. So who your authentic self is today, it definitely wasn't that 10 years ago. Where do you get these techniques from? You just learned over time. You read it in a book, breaking bread with other married guys. Like, obviously you hang around other married guys too.
Live and learn.
Yeah.
Live and learn. Like, when things aren't going well, you see it is it's not working. It's not going to work. No, it's just time to go to work.
Man. Bro, that's some hard shit you just said right there. That's hard. It's time to go to work.
And a lot of times it might just be work on you. Yeah. How you seeing this situation? How are you presenting yourself? How are you coming into every situation? Like, is it something that you doing that's causing this? It may or may not be. Sometimes.
But you at least got to take that into consideration. Instead of saying this is not working, it's like, we zagging. How can I put this on? How can we bring this together? Get on the same page. So what you do is, instead of blaming her, you look at yourself like first and like, is this something that I'm doing wrong? Right. Maybe I might be off in the area. So you look to correct yourself first.
Now, I wouldn't say that's the first thing I do, but I eventually get to that point.
Eventually get to that point.
You have to.
Yeah.
I think you absolutely have to. Because there have been times like, man, it's been simple stuff. Like she made a salad one time. I took a bite of the salad and I bit down on the fork and it hurt my teeth. And somehow I tried to make that her fault. Like, how in the hell
is this her
are
fault?
you being too eager to eat?
Yeah. How is
and
that
you
her
bit
fault?
the fork.
Yeah.
That is, how in the hell is this her fault?
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't bring this to her attention, but this was a thought that I had.
Absolutely.
But you know what I'm saying? We catch ourselves doing stuff like,
or we don't catch ourselves doing that. We just go along with the
like,
foolishness.
Bro, what the hell are you thinking?
Yeah.
How in the hell is you biting a fork her fault? In what world, sir? Yeah. Houseway.
Like, how is this
How is this her fault? So you have to catch yourself in little microaggressions. I'm assuming that's what they call it.
Yeah.
You want to be mad at somebody, and when you in the home with your significant other, that's the somebody that's there. So you want to blame them for.
Why is that little microaggression such an easy, natural response?
Because I think it's natural that we can be so full of ourselves that we don't want to accept the fact that when shit go wrong, it's our fault.
Ego driven.
It's ego driven. If you would just take a step back and take a beat to get to that point where you realize that and not say some shit in that moment, that could be very, very valuable. What's my man name? LeBron's manager, Rich Paul.
Yeah, Rich.
One of the coldest things I ever heard was like, you just talk about like players in their contracts. When shit gets bigger than the cat, you gotta get rid of the cat. So if you constantly bringing up shit all the time, you constantly bringing up negativity, when you constantly bringing up problems, like your bullshit, your baggage is becoming bigger than your value.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's now you starting, not people is dealing with you looking for a reason to get rid of your ass, because all that bullshit you bringing to the table is outweighing the value that you bringing to the table.
Yes. You know, I'm thinking about my journey, my life. And of course, this is maturity. And then I'm just tired of failing in an area. Like, you know, New Year's resolutions, you know, especially since I got out of prison, it was always to go up, to accumulate more, to do more, to obtain more. This year is different, man. I just want to become a better person. You know what I'm saying? I want to become a better person so I can really experience the value of being in a pure relationship. Because you know what? That's some shit money can't buy. I don't care how much money you have. At the end of the day, a man just want to go home and have some peace.
Have some peace.
You feel me? And then, you know, lying, cheating. You know, once you lose that trust, man, I don't care how much your house costs. You don't ruin that peace. You know what I'm saying?
That's like, crazy. That's
once you lose trust, man, I've seen it, bro. That'll shut a woman's mind and body down. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I've never really and truly been aware of it until, you know, just recently, man. And it's like, who cares how much money you got? Who cares how much you accomplish? If you can't really share your life in a genuine way with another individual, now this is where I am in my life. It's like, man, what do you have? Money can't buy that.
If my advice is worth anything,
let me get your top 3 things.
Okay. So one, like I said earlier, is just you have to know who you are, and your partner has to be okay with who you are and understand that fully. Because you have to be who you are. You have to maintain your individuality in this relationship. You got to be the person that they were attracted to initially. You can't just come a different version of something to fit in this relationship. That's it's not real. 2, and I feel like this kind of falls under the umbrella of communication, is communication doesn't always necessarily what you say. It's sometimes what you don't say in the moment. Pick your battles. You got to understand that what you may be feeling and how you want to address the situation may not always be the best way to handle it.
Yeah.
You got to understand your partner again.
Yeah. Because
they may not receive your messaging the way you think that they should.
You got to understand their love language.
You know, understand that, but just understand how they like, you know, understand them.
Yeah.
You know, because again, you say I love you with a stank face and they know that face, and you say I love you, but for them it just basically means F you. And then lastly, man, your partner truly needs to be your friend.
They say life is 10/90. 10% of what happens, and 90% of how you respond. Yo, I'm trying to elevate, so I'ma take the ups with the downs. Pound for pound, the greatest, God gave me the crown. Graduated from the streets, got my cap and my gown. Made mistakes on the way, but I turned them around.